Good morning, my Hebrews and my Shalomie homies. We are in Deuteronomy 31 this morning, page 219 in the scriptures. All the usual caveats. Please get your Bible out. Please read it along with us. If you don't have a copy of the scriptures, you can get them in the store at bearindependent.com at no additional cost. They're just our cost passed to you. If you can't afford one, please email us November Tango X-Ray Mike Alpha Golf at gmail.com. I do not need a long story about why you can't afford one. Just tell me where to send you one, and I will send you one. These are the Father's words, and I praise him for them. And I ask that he would be indwelt in us while we read this together, because you do not have my permission to subcontract your faith to me. Copy. Deuteronomy 31. And Moshe went and spoke these words to Israel, the Father's chosen people, us. The archetype of the mediator between the Father and his people went and spoke these words to his people. And he said to them, I am 120 years old today. I am no longer able to go out and to come in. And Yahweh has said to me, you do not pass over this Jordan, the river. Yahweh your Elohim himself is passing over before you. He shall destroy these nations before you, and you possess them. Joshua himself is passing over before you, as Yahweh has spoken. And Yahweh shall do to them as he did to Sihon and to Og, the kings of the Amorites in their land, Og of Bashan, the giant, the Rephaite, the Rephaim, the Nephilim, the giants. And Yahweh will do to these lands as he did to them, when they were utterly destroyed by the hand of Israel. And the kings of the Amorites in their land, when he destroyed them. And Yahweh shall give them over to you, and you shall do to them according to all the command which I have commanded you. According to all the command that I have commanded you. Be strong and courageous. Do not fear nor be afraid of them. Now I am telling you, this is, of course, what? Joshua 1, verse 9. We see this all over the place. Joshua is the guy who's taken over from Moses, because Moshe is old, his bones are weary, and Yah has told Moshe, bro, you are not going into the promised land. And the reason for that is because Moshe was told by Yahweh, the Father God, to speak to the rock so that water will come out of it to water the flocks and the herds and the people. And Moshe was pissed, and he didn't speak to it. He struck it with the rod twice, and he said, see what I've done for you, Israel? Moshe didn't do any of it. Moshe did one extremely important thing. And perhaps this is the tribute we pay to the man. He showed up day in, day out, for over 40 years for the Father to lead the Father's people. But in a moment of weakness, his pride and his anger took over. And he took credit for the Father's miracles. And Yah said, that's cute, Moshe. You ain't going into the promised land. Yet again, we see that people are broken, and that we should be thankful for and pay tribute to the men and women that the Father has brought before us to serve his kingdom. But we don't bow down to the altar of these people because they're people. Moses messed up. Aaron, the high priest, is the guy that made the golden calf. Okay? People are capable of incredible and wonderful things. And they're capable of terrible and atrocious things. Which is why you don't get to subcontract your faith to me. Joshua 1, verse 9. You see this all over modern Christianity. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid nor discouraged, for Yahweh your Elohim, the Lord your God, is with you wherever you go. This is Joshua, Yahushua, which means salvation, which is the same name as Yeshua, which means salvation, which is Jesus the Christ, the anointed of the Most High, Yahweh, right? Leading people into the promised land. What a coincidence. What a coincidence that our Redeemer would be named salvation and lead people into the promised land. But remember, the Old Testament doesn't matter, right? We're covered by grace. The Old Testament doesn't matter. But here's the problem with this quote that is quoted by churchianity over and over and over again in Joshua 1 verse 9. Have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous? Do not be afraid nor be discouraged, for Yahweh your Elohim is with you wherever you go. Let's read that in context. And for the couple of a-holes that like to jump in here occasionally in the comments and go, well, what context, Bear? Are you going to read far enough back? I would encourage you to shoot a video on it because I don't appreciate you disturbing my shalom. Not take a long walk off a short pier. Roger? Roger. Let's start at verse 6. Be strong and courageous, for you are to let this people inherit the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous, to guard, to do, according to all the Torah which Moshe, my servant, commanded you. Do not turn from it right or left, so that you act wisely wherever you go. Do not let this book of the Torah depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so that you guard to do according to all that is written in it. For then you shall make your way prosperous and act wisely. For then you shall make your way prosperous and act wisely. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, nor be discouraged, for Yahweh your Elohim is with you wherever you go. A little bit of context goes a long way, churchianity. So if we're going to take that verse and put it on cute little memes on Instagram and hang it on posters in our rec room in our multi-million-dollar, cajillion square foot facility that is essentially a corporation that gathers revenue to then disperse as the church sees fit, under the guise of spirituality and self-help motivational beta male boy speakers. Okay, let's go with all of it. Do not let the book of this Torah depart from your mouth. You shall meditate on it day and night, so that you guard to do according to all that is written in it. For then you shall make your way prosperous and act wisely. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Right. Now clearly, Joshua knew what was up, because Joshua was Moshe's right-hand man. Because right over here, back in Deuteronomy 31 verse 6, we have Moshe saying, be strong and courageous. Do not fear nor be afraid of them. These are the people in the promised land. Remember, it was fear of the people in the promised land that caused the Israelites to reject the promised land in the first place, which is why they had to wander around in the desert for 40 years, so that wicked and adulterous generation would die off. Those that rejected the promised land. For Yahweh your Elohim is going with you, and he does not fail nor forsake you. My favorite verse is Exodus 15 verse 3. Yahweh is a warrior. Yahweh is his name. And in fact, at the very top of this grindstone bookmark, there we go, right there. Can you see that? It says Exodus 15:3. These are some of my favorite verses on the back of this bookmark, by the way. And Moshe called to Yehoshua and said, yo, homie. Said to him before the eyes of all Israel, yo, homie, be strong and courageous, for you are going with this people to the land which Yahweh has sworn to their fathers to give them, and you are to let them inherit it. You're the guy, Yehoshua. You're the guy, Josh. And it is Yahweh who is going before you. He himself is with you. He does not fail you nor forsake you. Do not fear nor be discouraged. The Lord your God, which is even now a phrase I don't like using, because the Lord of the heavens, go Google that. You're going to end up in some rabbit hole of Saturn. Black Death, not interested. But brief aside, Much better coffee this morning. Yes, you're welcome for slurpage. You're welcome. Do not fear nor be discouraged. And Moshe wrote this Torah and gave it to the priests, the sons of Levi, who bore the ark of the covenant of Yahweh, and to all the elders of Israel. Who gave it to the priests. Moshe wrote this Torah and gave it to the priests. Who's high priest right now? Per Hebrews, the New Testament. That's right, Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. Moshe wrote this Torah and gave it to who? Whoa, bro. Whoa. Yeah, whoa. Who bore the ark of the covenant of Yahweh, and to all the elders of Israel. Are you an elder among the Father's chosen people? An elder is not an age thing. It is an experience, wisdom, and discernment thing. And I would say, in a very large extent, a gifting of the Spirit thing. And Moshe commanded them, saying, at the end of 7 years, at the appointed time, the year of release, at the festival of Sukkot, when all Israel comes to appear before Yahweh your Elohim, in the place which he chooses, read this Torah before all Israel in their hearing. Assemble the people, the men and the women and the little ones, and the sojourner who is within your gates, so that they hear, so that they learn to fear Yahweh your Elohim, and guard to do all the words of this Torah. What does Messiah say in Matthew 5:17? Because we can. Let's go there. Yeah, but whatever. Matthew 5:17. Go. Which is smack dab in the middle of the Sermon on the Mount, just following the Beatitudes, the most famous sermon in all of Christendom, but we just skip right over this part. Just skip right over it. Page 923, Matthew 5:17. Do not think that I came to destroy the Torah or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to complete. Plerau is the Greek word. It means like to be, which is why I say embody. I came not to destroy the Torah or the prophets, but to embody. For truly I say to you, till the heaven and earth pass away. Okay, still here, just checking. Till heaven and earth pass away, one yod or one tittle, the tiniest little mark, shall by no means pass from the Torah till all be done. Roger that, sir. Thank you, sir. Matthew 7:21, page 926. Yeshua, Jesus, speaking again, which, by the way, and this makes people mad, but it's truth, there never lived a man or a Elohim made flesh named Jesus the Christ. That was not his name. His name was Yeshua or Yehoshua or something, Yahusha, somewhere in there, of Nazareth, who was the anointed of the Most High Yahweh. Christ means anointed. Okay? And Yeshua or Yahusha became Romanized into Jesus. And Jesus, which is like IOSUS with all the little Greek things on it. And Jesus became anglicized into Jesus. Now, does not mean that there is not power in that name, because I personally have rebuked demons in the name of Jesus, and it works. He knows who we're talking to. But just so we're all clear here, this is Messiah speaking. Not everyone who says to me, Master, Master, shall enter into the reign of the heavens, but he who is doing the desire of my Father in the heavens. That's who's getting into the kingdom of heaven. He who is doing the desire of my Father in the heavens. Now, can we work our way into the heavens? No, we can't work our way into the presence of the Most High, which is why we have a Messiah in the first place. because we're all busted up POSs. We have all fallen short of the glory of the Most High. Absolutely. Which is why we have an intercessor per Hebrews 8:6. Yeshua is the mediator of this renewed covenant, the agreement, the covenant, the agreement between two or more parties, us and the Most High, which is, of course, Hebrews 8:12, that his laws, the Father's laws, are on our mind and written on our hearts. Gosh, I could just jump into a wormhole with this. Well, the law was done away with. Flip to Revelation. What does it say in Revelation 19? And on his thigh is written, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. Kings have rules. Kings have laws. Come to me, all ye who labor, for my yoke is easy, my burden is light, says Yeshua. My laws are better than everybody else's laws because mine are divine laws, which is precisely what was prophesied in the Old Testament, the Torah, and the prophets, that a king would come to restore Israel to the Father. The King of Kings. Yeshua is the King of Kings. He either is the Messiah, who is the King, who came to restore Israel to the Father and return Israel to the law and use that as the vehicle back to the Father, or he's not Messiah, or the whole Old Testament is bullcrap, which is why, one of the many reasons I believe why they don't teach the Old Testament in church. They don't teach anything in church, and a lot of the churches I've been in, we just cherry pick some verses and put together some motivational, PowerPoint presentation on how you can have a great week in the Lord this week. Thanks. But many shall say to me in that day, Master, Master, have we not prophesied in your name and cast out demons in your name and done many mighty works in your name? And then I shall declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who work lawlessness. Depart from me, you who work lawlessness. Get away from me, all you lawless people. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and does them shall be like a wise man who built his house upon a rock. Back to Deuteronomy 3:1. Back to verse 12. Page 220. Assemble the people, the men and the women and the little ones, and your sojourner who is within your gates, so that they hear and so that they learn to fear Yahweh your Elohim, to guard to do all the words of this Torah. And their children guard to do, as we just saw, to do. We do the Torah. I am totally at the point in my life now when somebody's like, hey, Bear, you're doing that thing wrong. And I'm like, cool, do you do it too? And they're like, well, no. Okay. Roger that. Hey, bro, your chip shot sucks. Awesome. Come over here and show me how to do it. Oh, I don't play golf. Okay. It's like, wow, Bear, you're really bad at driving that pickup truck. And I can say that because I've read 1/3, maybe 1/4 of this owner's manual that I keep in the glove box. And I only take it out and look at it when I have a problem. And then I only read a little bit of it. Cool, but do you drive the truck? No, I don't drive the truck. If I do drive the truck, it's for a couple hours on Sunday morning. That's it. And I've only read this much of the user's manual. Copy. The Torah is something you do. And you learn so much by doing it because we are commanded to guard and do it. And so when people like to jump in the rear end of people like me who are doing this, but they themselves are not doing it, for me, it's almost an instant disqualifier in that conversation because we're doing it. We're living it. It's like walking into a blacksmith shop and being like, bro, that axe sucks. It's like, cool, you make one. Well, I don't know how. Oh, got it. Got it. Because that guy is doing it every day. He's doing the reps, swinging that hammer, banging that steel, getting that iron red hot, right? He's figuring out how to do it. And so his expertise in the practical application of whatever instruction manual he has is leaps and bounds ahead of the person who walks in off the street, observes the practitioner in the process of performing their craft, and then cherry picks or drops a snide comment or thinks that they have it all figured out, even though they've never held the hammer. They've never swung the hammer until the calluses on their hands have bled. They've never been overcome with heat stroke. They've never had to stand in front of that forge. They don't understand how to quench steel. They don't understand how to temper the edge but leave the back half of the axe soft. They don't get it because they don't do it. The Torah is something that we do. And when you do it, it's like reading a book about how to have a relationship and thinking that you know everything about relationships. Because that's what this is. It's a book on relationships. A book on a relationship with our Father. Guard to do it. "13, and their children who have not known it should hear and learn to fear Yahuwah, your Elohim, as long as you live in the land you are passing over the Jordan to possess. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, see, the days have drawn near for you to die. Call Yehoshua and present yourself in the tent of appointment so that I command him. And Moshe and Yehoshua went and presented themselves in the tent of appointment. And Yahuwah appeared in the tent in a column of a cloud, and the column of a cloud stood above the door of the tent." That had to be awesome to see. "And Yahuwah said to Moshe, see, you are about to sleep with your fathers, and this people shall rise and whore after the mighty ones of the strangers of the land, in the midst of which they shall enter, and forsake me, and break my covenant which I have made with them." Yahuwah is saying to Moshe, look, bro, you're fixing to die. And these people are going to go into this land, which I'm about to give them, and they're going to whore with the nations, and they're going to serve false gods, and they're going to fall in line with these people who are not my people. Then my displeasure shall burn against them in that day, and I shall forsake them and hide my face from them, and they shall be consumed. And many evils and distresses shall come upon them. And it shall be said in that day, it is not because our Elohim is not in our midst. Is it not because our Elohim is not in our midst that these evils have come upon us? People will be like, well, no wonder these evils have come upon us. Yahuwah is not with us. Why is Yahuwah not with us? It says right here, forsake me and break my covenant, which I have made with them. And I shall certainly hide my face in that day, because of all the evil which they have done, for they shall turn to other mighty ones. Now, pause there a moment. Flip over to Hebrews 8, verse 6. The cornerstone of the renewed covenant through Yeshua Messiah. When people say, and I have many people, including close friends, who said to me, you know, you're more of an old covenant guy, I'm more of a new covenant guy. Understand, and with love, I would rebuke you in this way. Here is the renewed covenant as outlined in the Bible. Hebrews, starting at verse 6, page 1172. But now he, Yeshua, has obtained a more excellent service. The first service that is discussed in Hebrews 8 is that Yeshua is the high priest. Cool. Now he's obtained a more excellent service, inasmuch as he is also mediator of a better covenant, which was constituted on better promises, just like Yeshua was, or Moshe was mediator of that first covenant. Okay, the one that Yahuwah just told him is going to get broken, and so now we have Yeshua, mediator of this renewed covenant. For if that first covenant had been found faultless, then no place would have been sought for a second. Okay, well, what was the issue? Now, this is a direct quote from Jeremiah 31, verses 31 through 34. This is also in the New Testament, in the book of Hebrews, the youngest book in the Bible, I believe. For finding fault with them, he says, them being Israel, See, the days are coming, says Yahweh, when I shall conclude with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah a renewed covenant, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Mitzrayim, because they did not continue in my covenant, and I disregarded them. Keep a finger there. Flip back over to Deuteronomy 31. And Yahweh said to Moshe, verse 16, See, you are about to sleep with your fathers, and this people shall rise and whore after the mighty ones of the strangers of the land, into the midst of which they shall enter, and forsake me and break my covenant which I have made with them. Hebrews 8, verse 9. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Mitzrayim, which just happened over here back in Deuteronomy. I mean, just happened 40 years ago. They've wandered the wilderness for 40 years. Lead them out of the land of Mitzrayim because they did not continue in my covenant, and I disregarded them. So the issue with this covenant was that the people did not continue in it, and Yahweh disregarded them. Okay, so what's the renewed covenant? Here we go, verse 10. Because this is the covenant that I shall make with the house of Israel after those days. Now, incredibly important. It is not the house of the Mormons. It is not the house of the Pentecostals. It is not the house of the Baptists. It is not the house of the Presbyterians or the Lutherans or the Methodists or the Catholics or the whatever. It's not the house of the Hebrew roots movement. It's the house of Israel, the Father's chosen people. Israel, he who overcomes with Elohim. That's us. That's what Israel means. He who is overcome with Elohim. And if you want proof of that, go read Revelation 2 and 3, and underline everywhere where it says, he who overcomes, and to he who overcomes. We've done this before at this channel. Israel. Verse 10, because this is the covenant that I shall make with the house of Israel after those days, says Yahweh. So this is the renewed covenant, giving my laws in their mind, and I shall write them on their hearts, and I shall be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And they shall by no means teach each one his neighbor and each one his brother, saying, Know Yahweh. Hey, can I talk to you about Yahweh? Can I talk to you about Yeshua? Because they shall all know me, from the least of them to the greatest of them. Because I shall forgive their unrighteousness and their sins, and their lawlessness I shall no longer remember. Who forgives sins? Yahweh. Right there in the Bible. By saying renewed, he has made the first old. Now what becomes old and growing aged is near disappearing. Talking about this first covenant, and of course talking about the people who find themselves under this first covenant without the mediator of Yeshua. These are the Yehudim, the Jews, right? But what is the renewed covenant? Literally, that the Father's laws would be on our mind and written on our heart. This is the same or similar to the rebuke that, one of my favorite rebukes that Yeshua gives the Pharisees. He says, you hypocrites, you tithe the mint and the rue, but you avoid the right ruling and the love of Elohim. You should have done both. You should have done both. You should have the Father's laws on your mind and written on your heart, and have the compassion and the love, and love the Lord your God with everything you've got, and love your neighbor as yourself. You should do all of this. You should do all of this. I come not to destroy the Torah or the prophets, but to complete it. Back over to Deuteronomy 3:1. Verse 18, and I shall certainly hide my face in that day because of all the evil which they have done, for they shall turn to other mighty ones. And now write down this song for yourselves and teach it to the children of Israel. Put it in their mouths, so that this song is to me for a witness against the children of Israel. And I shall bring them to the land flowing with milk and honey, of which I swore to their fathers, and they shall eat and be satisfied and be fat. Then they shall turn to the other mighty ones, and they shall serve them, and scorn me, and break my covenant. And it shall be, when many evils and distresses come upon them, that this song shall answer before them as a witness. For it is not to be forgotten in the mouths of their seed. For I know their thoughts, which they are forming even today, even before I bring them to the land which I swore to give them. It's powerful. Even as Yahweh is busting his tush to bring his chosen people into the land of Mitzrayim, or into the land, into the promised land. He knows they're going to mess it up. He knows it. He knows their thoughts. And Moshe wrote this song the same day and taught it to the children of Israel. And he commanded Yehoshua, son of Nun, be strong and courageous, for you are to bring the children of Israel into the land of which I swore to them, and I myself am with you. And it came to be, when Moshe had completing the writing of the words of this Torah in a book, until their completion, that Moshe commanded the Levites who bore the ark of the covenant of Yahweh, saying, take this book of the Torah, and you shall place it beside the ark of the covenant of Yahweh your Elohim, and it shall be there as a witness against you, so that you can refer to it. For I myself know your rebellion and your stiff neck. See, while I am still alive with you today, you have been rebellious against Yahweh. Then how much more after my death? If y'all are done messing up constantly while I'm here, how much more when I'm gone? Here's this book to refer back to. You know, that reminds me of something. For I myself know your rebellion and your stiff neck. See, while I am still alive with you today, you have been rebellious against Yahweh. Then how much more after my death? Flip over to Hebrews 10, verse 26, which is page 1174. For if we sin purposefully, after we have received knowledge of the truth. What is sin? 1 John 3:4, sin is lawlessness. For if we are lawless, for if we break the Torah purposefully, after we have received the knowledge of the truth, there no longer remains a slaughter offering for sins, but some fearsome anticipation of judgment and a fierce fire which is about to consume the opponents. Anyone who has disregarded the Torah of Moshe dies without compassion on the witness of 2 or 3 witnesses. How much worse punishment do you think shall he deserve who has trampled the Son of Elohim underfoot, counted the blood of the covenant by which he was set apart as common, and insulted the spirit of favor? For we know him who has said, vengeance is mine, I shall repay, says Yahweh. And again, Yahweh shall judge his people. It is fearsome to fall into the hands of the living Elohim. It's bad enough to disregard the Torah of Moshe. How much worse punishment do you think someone would deserve who has trampled Jesus the Christ, Yeshua? Gosh, I rebuke these fumbling words. Yeshua HaMashiach underfoot. Trampled him underfoot. Counted the blood of the covenant by which he was set apart as common, and insulted the spirit of grace, the spirit of favor. Y'all know what to do. You just won't do it. It's the same theme here in Hebrews in the New Testament as what we see here in Deuteronomy with Moses. For I myself know your rebellion and your stiff neck. See, while I am still alive with you today, you have been rebellious against Yahweh. Then how much more after my death? Assemble unto me all the elders of your tribes and your officers, so that I speak these words in their hearing, and call the heavens and the earth to witness against them. For I know that after my death you shall do very corruptly, and turn aside the way which I have commanded you. And evil shall come to you in the latter days, because you do what is evil in the eyes of Yahweh, to provoke him through the work of your hands. So Moshe spoke in the hearing of all the assembly of Israel the words of this song till their completion. And we'll read the song next week. For I know that after my death you shall do very corruptly, and turn aside from the way. The way. I am the way, the truth, the life, says Yeshua HaMashiach. A phenomenal documentary, by the way. The Way. Check it out. For I know that after my death you shall do very corruptly, to turn aside from the way which I have commanded you. And evil shall come to you in the latter days, because you do what is evil in the eyes of Yahweh, to provoke him through the work of your hands. So Moshe spoke in the hearing of all the assembly of Israel the words of this song till their completion. Which is why we needed a mediator in the first place, y'all. Which is why Yeshua came to restore us to the Father. Because we're going to mess it up. It's what we do. We just shouldn't knowingly mess it up. It's the crux of the issue. The Father knows our hearts. He knows our thoughts before we think them. He knows what we're going to do. Even as he's trying to lead us into the promised land, he knows we're going to mess it up. That's why we have a mediator of this renewed covenant, a go-between, because sin, which is lawlessness. Think about that. Sin cannot exist in the presence of Yahweh or Elohim. Lawlessness cannot exist in the presence of Yahweh or Elohim. Yeshua removes that lawlessness from us. The way, as I understand it, from reading this Bible, not from any outside influence, from reading this Bible, that he does that is his atoning sacrifice, his blood upon the stake. That sacrifice atoned for all of our lawlessness to this point. And then after that, the way that he has removed the sins of the world, the lawlessness of the world, again, he's king. Remember, kings have laws, is by Matthew 5:17 completing the Torah and the prophets. And the way that he completed it is by walking it out to show us how to do it. By being that archetype, by being that mediator in between us and the Most High, so that we can see what he did, so that we can follow in his footsteps. 1 Peter 2:21. For this you were called, Messiah having suffered for his sins, our sins. For this you were called, Messiah having suffered for our sins, that we might walk in his footsteps. For in him there is no sin, there is no lawlessness, and no deceit was found in his mouth, and he did not speak a lie. So we were called to walk in the footsteps of Messiah because there was no sin in him. So how does he remove the sins of the world? Well, if you believe in Jesus the Christ, if you believe in Yeshua HaMashiach, you are called to walk with him, 1 Peter. And there is no sin in him. That's how, as I understand it, us. Sin, the lawlessness is removed from us by walking with Yeshua. Which is frankly, the antithesis of churchianity. And I could care less. Because I will not stand in judgment in front of some, health and wealth prosperity gospel pastor. I will stand in judgment in front of Yahuwah my Elohim, whom I am taught and commanded to fear and to do his things, not my things. Certainly not the world's things. Praise Yah for Yeshua. This would be a lot harder and a lot more messy without him. Shalom, y'all.